Oh, my coffee's gone cold. But not cold enough to be nice. Hello, and welcome to the video. My name is Argent Sergeant, and this gentleman with the funky facial hair right here is Chinpatchy. You guys are noisy. Okay guys, it's Sunday morning, it's 24 minutes past 9. Why am I mentioning this? Because I want to upload this video by 8 o'clock tonight. Unfortunately, this week, there have been other commitments, personal, work-related, and so on and so forth, that have meant that I am not going to be able to put the number of hours into this video that I would usually like to. However, I still want to get the video uploaded, and I still want to make it somewhat valuable to you, so I'm going to talk you through the flood farm that I'm creating here in the Survival Helper world. It is basically identical in almost all ways to the one on the Hermitcraft server, and it's a work in progress. So here's what I've got so far, and here are all of the components. This thing is going to be a wheat farm, which means all of this grass is going to need to be tilled, and I'm going to need to have blocks scattered around it in order to ensure that the farmland remains moist. First and foremost, we have this big grassy platform here. It is broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4 tiers. Top tier is 5 blocks long, second tier is 7 blocks long, third tier is also 7 blocks long, and the bottom tier is 8 blocks long, giving me a total of 15, 22, 27 by 1, 2, 3, 15. It is 15 by 27 blocks in size, which is 270 plus 135, which is 405 blocks in total. So next, what's going on up at the top here? So these boys are known as dispensers. I'm not going to use the one at this end, it's just too blimmin' noisy. Put a button there, remove that redstone dust, and press this button. Okay, so we see what's happening there. When we press that button, this thing places a water source block in front of its own face. Like that. And then from there, the water runs out. You can hit the button again, and the water goes away. Pretty fabulous. So that is what a dispenser is, and that is what it does. It dispenses water. But not just water. If you put a bone in it, it'll just spit it out as a loose entity. If there is an item that can be used or interacted with, such as arrows, fire charges, bone meal, shears, and so on, the dispenser will dispense that item. So when the dispenser fires with the water bucket in it, it uses the water bucket and places the water source block, leaving you with an empty bucket. When you fire the dispenser again, it's not actually turning the water off. What it is it's using the bucket on the water to pick it up. Like that. Here's how you make them. You mainly just need bows, and then I can use those bows to craft dispensers. When you've got a bow that's got wear on it, they don't let you quick craft a dispenser with it. But if you just put it in the recipe anyway, it'll let you use it. So, these dispensers are all connected together with a singular button. When I press this button, it powers this dispenser, and this dispenser becomes a powered block, which allows these redstone lines to then also become powered. As the redstone dust on top of these dispensers is powered, it then transfers the power to the dispensers, allowing them all to fire on the push of a singular button, like so. Beautiful. So, the water coming out of the dispensers runs all the way down this slope, right up to the edge of these hoppers. Why are these hoppers important? Well, I shall show you. Stuff falls in the water, it goes along, it goes into the hoppers. All of these hoppers are connected to each other in a linear fashion, just like that. And then at the end, they go down into this double chest. So, anything that pops into this water lands in the double chest. That's a rundown of everything that's been done so far. Now what we need to do is we need to till the land, and then we need to make sure that it is saturated, moist, wet, all of that other stuff. Now when you first till a piece of land, it's this lovely light brown colour, which indicates that it's dry. Now, dry land will return eventually to dirt like this. And if it's close enough to grass, it will then return to being grass. So, as I till all this, you'll notice that even as I'm doing it, sometimes randomly, the blocks are just returning to being regular old dirt. Like that, like that, like that down there. This is not good. If you're doing this and you pop a couple of holes in the ground there and there, for example, you can take the time to fetch a couple of buckets of water and pop it in those holes. So now what will happen is once this land is tilled, the water will soak into the ground around it and start rendering it moist, like that. That's what that lovely, rich, dark colour indicates. So when you've got some water blocks in these areas. You just finish tilling the land and then wait for them to become saturated. There is a certain distance for which this effect will actually take place. Let's go and find out what that is. Okay, so I think even before all of these spots are filled in, we can pretty decisively conclude that the range of saturation from a single water source block is 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks of farmland, which is great because it means that if I'm up on here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks in between here, 4 blocks from here to the wall, means that if I place my water blocks here, about here, 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 and here, once I till all this land, it will be moist. So, here we go. Okay, and that is that job jobbed. Oh, there's one pesky little dirt block over there. Let's talk about what you need to do in order to care for your crops. Basically, the first thing you need to do is keep them moist. We've taken care of that already with the water blocks. But the other thing you need to do is not trample them. What do I mean by trample? Well, if I stand on this block here and I jump, it turns it back to dirt. If you jump up, it's all right. If you fall down without jumping off the edge, then you're all right. If you sprint and fall off, it tramples it. And if you jump off, it tramples it. What does that do? Well, it does a multitude of things. The first thing it does is it means you have to till the soil again. Second thing it does is if you've got plants growing on it, if I've got some seeds here that have been growing to any extent except for being full wheat, if I just jump on them, there we go, they break. Just like that. And that's how you render farmland basically useless. You have to till it all over again and then wait for it to get saturated again. And you don't get the benefit of the complete crop. So we can mitigate that by basically not walking on it as much as we can. And now we really are at the stage where all we have to do is seed the land, wait for it to grow, and then we can take our first crop. Except for one last thing. I'm going to knock up some slabs and I'm going to show you something important. So we have these water blocks here that are basically in holes. The first thing it does is it snags the water, which means it doesn't run all the way down properly, which is in and of itself not very helpful. The other thing that will happen is that when an object runs into it, there is a chance that it will snag in the hole. So we have to combat that, and the only way to do it is by turning them into waterlogged blocks. And what that means is that you put a slab over the top of it. We did something very, very similar with the sugarcane farm just over there. So, I've filled them in with slabs, which means that the water isn't gonna get snagged. And it can just flow nicely straight across the top. Beautiful, all the way down to the hopper line. Fantastic. The only problem that this creates is that monsters can spawn on them. But we can probably mitigate that with some overhead lighting. Alright, let's seed this thing. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? Look at it all. Oh, no, you better not. You better don't. If he tramples my farmland, I'm not going to be impressed. Get off of my farm! But while that grows, I'm going to be over in the village. I'm just going to breed up some villagers so I've got more people to trade with. A little bit of research tells me it shouldn't take more than half an hour. See you in a little bit. Woo! That's the timer. That's the timer. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's have a look. Are we done? Have we grown? Let's find out. No. No, we haven't. 30 minutes wasn't enough. It's been 45 minutes so far, so it should be done. Woo! Right, what do we got? Oh, well, that's been 45 minutes. Is there a way of making this quicker? I think there is. I think you can use bees to make it quicker, but I don't have any bees. So, I'm just going to go back to doing what I was doing over there. Okay, we really are well past the 1 hour mark, and the Wandering Trader did, in fact, trample some of my crops, and we are still not done. I'm going to go ahead and do this anyway. We were 405, minus 6 slabs makes 399, minus the, I think, 9 we counted that weren't done here, so it's 390. So when I press this button, we are going to get 390 wheat. Probably. Let's do it. Ugh. Look at that. That's a lot. Okay, So I managed to get 300, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that makes 320, add 49 makes 369 wheat from a single discharge of the farm. It took over an hour to grow, but you know, if it's something that you can just walk away from in order to let it grow, then you'll be in a pretty good position anyway. The advantage of the number 369 is that it's a multiple of 3. It'll be 123. So 2 stacks would make 128. That's 5 short of a second stack, so that's 123. Super. Quick maths. So now that I've got a load of bread, I probably could have kept back some of the wheat to trade with the farmer, but that's all right. I can actually do a little bit more breeding. But sadly, due to time restrictions, this has got to be the end of Survival Helper episode 8. Now, I am already underway building another farm over there. It's going to be an automated cactus farm, but I'm going to integrate something else into it that's going to make it a bit more exciting, as well as a more sophisticated pickup system than what I've got at the bottom of here. So I'm quite excited to unveil that. But sadly, as I say, I've got to stop playing now because I need to take this footage and edit it in order to meet tonight's 8 PM deadline. The time is now 11:52. If I get it wrapped up and I can be on track to produce something different at the end of next week, it's entirely possible that I'm going to be issuing a second video in the week, which will be Survival Helper 9 or potentially Survival Helper sort of 8B. We'll see, depending on how I get on during the week. At the moment, we're struggling a little bit with the work-life balance, but I've got a whole raft of new content that I can be getting onto because I have made some investments. I've got some shader packs that I'd like to explore and share with you guys. I've also finally figured out how to download and install mods, which to some people might be really easy, but for the incompetent like myself, it takes a lot of bravery to even have a stab at it. To all of you who are new to the channel, thank you so much for coming along, and to all of you who have been around since before times, likewise, thank you very much for your continued support. If there are any mods that you would like to try or anything that you would like to look at with the shader packs on, let me know and we'll do a little bit of a tour. I'd love to engage with you guys more, so if you'd like to drop a like and a comment, then I would be very, very grateful to read them. But for the time being, as the sun sets, wherever that is, as the sun sets on today's episode of Survival Helper, I've got to bid you adieu. I've been Argent Sergeant and you've been fantastic. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye-bye.